So, I have been dragging my feet on talking about Frozen 2, as well as Klaus. So, instead of making separate reviews for those two movies, I thought it would be fun to compare the two and tell you which one you should watch on Christmas Eve or Christmas, since that is this week. And both of these movies are winter themed, so makes sense. The main things I'll go over will be the story, characters, animation, music, and humor. So for Frozen 2's story, I think it might be the weakest part of the film. It has the characters go off to this village that is veiled in mist and everything, while Elsa tries to go off to try to find this voice that has been calling out to her. And I gotta be honest, there are certain plot points where I was just kind of bored by it. And it also does this thing that has been sort of a new trope with Disney movies of leaving a character behind somewhere, because it happened in Toy Story 4 and it also happened in Ralph Breaks the Internet. So instead of doing twist villains all the time, now they're doing this trope. And I do agree with Shafrillis Productions is that Frozen 2 probably did it the worst. So yeah, the story and the execution of it I think is the weakest part of Frozen 2. Klaus, however, is a very familiar story, yet different, since it is about the origin of Santa Claus. It has this postman going to a village to try to establish a post office and get letters. I thought it was very clever that they focused on the letter aspect of Santa Claus. The only problem I really have with the story is near the end, where it does sort of a very tropey thing that we've seen in a lot of movies, but I think it handled it pretty well. It's similar to the liar revealed trope, but it goes over smoothly. As far as characters go, with Frozen 2, I think if you haven't seen the first Frozen, you won't be quite as attached to the ones in Frozen 2. Like, if you want to take your family out to go see some Frozen 2 and they haven't seen Frozen, they might not be as attached. And I think Anna was very clingy towards Elsa throughout the movie, though I guess it makes sense, she was kind of locked away from her for a very long time. And Kristoff is just there. Honestly, I think he's worse than Olaf. Olaf I actually liked. He was one of the best parts of the movie for me. There are a couple of new characters introduced, but they were so inconsequential that I've already forgot them. I think Elsa is the most important character, obviously, because it's about her story, and finding out about her powers and where they came from. With Klaus, I think all the characters, as soon as they're introduced, are immediately likable. Jesper, and I know a lot of people have said it, reminds me a lot of Kuzco. I think a lot of people think that because when you first see him, he's wearing something that seems like it's from Mayan or Aztec culture. And Klaus, he's very stoic and big, and J.K. Simmons' voice is, like, really perfect for him. And all of the side characters are great, too. There's this one little girl that they meet called Margot, who is a Sami, and she is, like, one of the most adorable things. But not only the characters' personalities, but their designs are fantastic. With Frozen 2, we kind of already seen the characters before, and a lot of it feels samey, even with new characters that are introduced, though I did like the general guy that was in the forest, which I was disappointed that they didn't do a lot more with him. Now to talk about animation, and this is interesting because it's a 3D movie against a 2D movie. With Frozen 2, I feel like a lot of it we have seen before with the first Frozen, but there still are a lot of effects that look really good. The snow and ice effects still look amazing. And there's one sequence with a water horse that I think is one of the best scenes in the movie. And all of the colors and scenery is fantastic. But, and I might be a little biased here, but I think Klaus beats it out just for the sheer beauty of it, as well as the technical breakthrough with their lighting system. There are so many shots with the characters in here where it's 2D that looks like it's 3D. They do have some 3D models with some of the vehicles and stuff, but all of the character models are 2D. And most of the backgrounds are painted backgrounds. But from the very beginning of the movie, I was like, wow, this looks amazing. A lot of it is thanks to that lighting system that Spa Studios developed. It just makes it look really great. And there are some sequences in here that are just jaw-dropping. So I am very looking forward to seeing what Spa Studios does next with this system they developed. Now, for music, I think Frozen 2 pretty much takes it, but I think Frozen, the first one, has better songs. Frozen 2 has Into the Unknown, though I think that the later song, Show Yourself, I think that's better, in my opinion. And those are Elsa's two big songs. The other songs in the movie, I completely forgot them. I know that Olaf has one, and Kristoff has one that I didn't like at all. I know that one was supposed to be played off as a joke, but nobody in my audience laughed. For Klaus, the original score is really good, but there are a couple of songs they have in there that feel a little out of place. One of them is played off for a laugh, and another one is just sort of a montage. but music isn't really the focus of that movie. For humor, with Frozen 2, I think that Olaf is a lot funnier in here than he was in the first Frozen. He has this very weird, nihilistic view of stuff now. It's very strange, but it's hilarious. There's one point where he recounts the events of Frozen 1, and it's really funny. And there are some other jokes with Kristoff, but I don't think they're as funny as with Olaf. With Klaus, there are some very funny, like, subtle jokes throughout the movie, and, like, I've seen it about 3 times now, and I've always laughed at some of the jokes. So it's a pretty funny movie, but it's also very heartwarming and wholesome. The trailer for the movie doesn't really do it any justice, because the trailer does have some jokes in there that aren't the funniest things in the world, and the trailer makes it seem kind of generic when it's anything but. So for humor, I think they're both, like, serviceable. But as far as which one you should watch this week for Christmas with your family, I would say Klaus, for sure. Unless your family is really dead set on going to see Frozen 2 for Christmas. Both of these films came out last month, but they are very winter-themed, so I think a lot of people would want to see these movies. However, if you do want to save a little money, I mean, Klaus is on Netflix, so that's already a plus. And you don't have to go out anywhere, you can just watch it on your TV with your family around you. So yeah, if you want to watch a new movie this Christmas that is winter-themed between Frozen 2 and Klaus, I would say Klaus. It's also more Christmassy, obviously, because it's about Santa Claus. So if you have seen either of these two movies, tell me what you thought down in the comments. And if there's a movie that your family watches every Christmas, let me know what it is. My family always watches Christmas Vacation. And I'll see you next time. Bye.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, by now we're getting a bit used to winter. We're like soldiers in the middle of a campaign, growing hardened to discomfort and better able to save.